This episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by One Tom Plumber. Hey, restoration company owners, do you want more commercial water damage jobs? Want to learn the easiest way to get them? Call One Tom Plumber at 855-TEAM-TOM. Again, that number is 855-TEAM-TOM. This episode is also sponsored by CoreLogic. From hazard and structure risk solutions to end-to-end claims and restoration job management software, CoreLogic and NextGear provide all the tools carriers and contractors need to exceed customer expectations through the entire supply chain. To learn more, visit corelogic.com/restoration. Thanks so much to these sponsors, and welcome to the episode. Hello there. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Restoration Today podcast. Today we are talking about cleaning, and I have a very special guest with me. I think that this is going to relate really well to the Restoring Kindness Project and the big push that's going to be coming in the month of May for that, and how there are other businesses doing amazing things for their community and first responders, all of that. So I am very excited to have Joe Delatte.
You got it right.
Joe Delatte with me. He is from Home Clean Heroes, which is a house cleaning franchise, but they have a really neat program that they do that involves cleaning homes for first responders and people like that. But so we're going to get into that in a minute. But I also wanted to talk to Joe a little bit more about some of the things that I'm guessing he faces in his day-to-day that we also face in the restoration industry, including maybe hiring and how difficult that can be in the trades and some of the other trends that he's seeing kind of in the workforce today. So Joe, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to just toss it over to you and have you kind of introduce yourself a little bit and share the background of Home Clean Heroes.
Sure. Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate you having me on here. I'm happy to be here. Home Clean Heroes is a residential cleaning franchise, part of Buzz franchise brand. So we operate out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. All four of the brands that we currently operate are based here. Buzz is the original founder of the Mosquito Joe franchise and currently operates Pool Scouts, British Swim School, Home Clean Heroes, and a new launch called Grand Illuminations, which is a holiday lighting brand. So all sort of home services, low entry type of brands. Myself, I have been in the franchising industry for about 8 years now. Prior to that, it was primarily marketing operations in the telecommunications advertising industries. But I exited those industries to buy a franchise and start a home services franchise business, which is where I cut my teeth and learned all about all the right and wrong things to do in franchising. And then when Buzz launched this brand, they brought me on board to help build it out. So that's the brief history. We've been franchising since 2018, currently 14 operators in 6 states across from Florida up to Utah. Overall, Buzz has about 200 units that we operate, franchise business units that we operate. So pretty worthwhile and formidable company, well capitalized, doing very well.
So what are some of the trends that you're seeing in the franchise world right now? Like, I can speak in the restoration realm. It seems like there's a new franchise opportunity opening like every week constantly. So are you kind of seeing that? What are you seeing happening in franchising, and what is the draw to that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the franchise industry goes, in my mind, you got really 2 different sides of the equation. You've got the shiny new toy, which is, a new, not necessarily proven concept that seems really cool and sexy, and everybody wants to be a part of it. And you see a lot of that going on from drip bars and, whatever the fitness studio of the week is.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Fitness.
To something like cleaning, which is time proven, high demand, recession resistant, predictable, recurring revenue. So it's an attractive business model. And it's one that in our space, there are a lot of competitors, but there's a lot of demand. So that means there's a lot of opportunity, particularly in the larger markets where some of the older brands may be sold out.
Sure.
Or in some cases have sort of a stigma that doesn't do well in the market. So we're able to bring in a fresh face and a new idea and a bold new brand and some high quality standards that we have in place as well. As far as you mentioned early on, the trends in franchising or just business ownership, period. I mean, as far as hiring, recruiting, we don't fire many people at this point because you get them, you want them to stick with you, right? It's the recruiting and retention that really is the big challenge for all of our franchisees. And it does limit growth. I mean, I'm sure that
Yep.
most of your listeners and have found that their biggest opportunity to grow would be just to have more capacity. So we focus with that on that with our franchisees. We actually act as a third party recruiter for them at the management level and building that out the frontline level too. I know you've had on a previous podcast third party recruiters. We're
Yep.
kind of creating that same function in house so that it's just one more benefit we can provide for franchisees.
Where do you go to, like, how do you encourage your franchisees when they need to hire? Like, what are some of the best practices that you encourage them if they're recruiting at home? Like, is it they're going out and recruiting themselves day to day? Are they using certain platforms? Like, how do you recommend that they find their talent?
Yeah, we build all that out for them. So we have a partnership with Indeed, Glassdoor, and then we augment it with a layer with Career Plug so that they
Yep.
have good visibility and tracking of all their applicants and good reporting. We have great partnership with Indeed as well. So, we'll recommend that they're boosting budgets depending on what their volume is in terms of applicants. So we stay close to that with them in terms of helping them to recruit, so they don't have to beat the bushes. But at the same time, we coach them. You don't know where you'll find your next employee. It could be at the drive-through window. It could be on Craigslist. It could be anywhere. So always have an open mind. Always be hiring.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And what about trends in home cleaning in general? I mean, that it used when I was growing up, hardly anybody had somebody to clean their house. But today, most of my friend group has people to clean their house. So how is that shifting in today's day and age?
Yeah, the younger demographic is definitely, so there's the stages of evolution of DIY, do it
Yep.
yourself, and now it's DIFM, do it for me. So there's a big component of do it for me, please, that is in every service category. Our the married and double income with kids, busy lifestyle and older mindset is still largest part of our demographic. We target higher income households because we know that they'll be loyal and we'll have better retention with those
Sure.
demographics. But yeah, I mean, you see that shift just in lifestyle overall, specifically in some of the larger urban markets as well.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's talk about Heroes First. I am really excited to talk about this and learn more. So, what is Heroes First and kind of where did the foundation of it come from?
Yeah, Heroes First is a foundational component of our brand and our business model that allows us to give back to first responders in our communities with every home that we clean. So basically, we've got a component that if you become a part of Home Clean Heroes as a franchise owner, you commit to giving a portion of every cleaning fee to Heroes First, which then goes to our national partner, which is the First Responders Children's Foundation, a national 501c3 based in New York, born out of the ashes of 9/11, and really focused on providing support for the families of first responders killed or impacted in the line of duty. So
Okay.
we found this organization, it really aligned with what we wanted to do, which is, they operate across the country. We want to really be able to find ways to connect with first responder agencies in our communities so that we can see the impact in the community. We can be a part of their voice and their lifestyle.
Sure.
It's something that franchisees are really attracted to because they, for a business owner, for the most part, somebody who wants to build their own business wants to be a part of the community, want to see themselves as successful in a number of ways. So not only personally, financially building wealth for themselves, but helping to build their community. And with
Sure.
our brand, Home Clean Heroes, no better sort of synergy and brand affinity than really aligning with true heroes in our markets, the first responders, and finding ways to really support them. So it's been we launched this the very beginning of 2022.
Okay.
And have just redoubled down this year, finding new elements, new parts of it. So instead of just giving back to first responders, we've created new discount and benefit programs for first responder customers in our community. We're working with the First Responder Children's Foundation. So let me cover what they do. They really have several different ways that they give back. 2022, they awarded over $1 million in scholarships across the U.S. Hundreds of financial hardship grants, particularly in some areas like where Hurricane Ian damage was. All of our franchisees in South Florida benefited from that. They've got community engagement programs. They launched a new mental health program. They got a presidential proclamation on First Responders Day. So a really successful year for them. We've added a number of benefits for first responders in our communities this year as well. And then on top of that, when we do have a first responder impacted in the community by a death, a financial need of some sort, we can bring the First Responders Children's Foundation in. They'll partner with us. They'll fund a number of cleans that we'll provide to the first responders family. We did that in Houston last year for a police officer who was killed in the line of duty and his family. And it's really rewarding for the franchisee and the cleaning teams as well to know, they're part of really helping out the first responders in a time of need like that.
So, okay, so you've partnered with this foundation. How are you typically finding the people who need help? Or are your individual franchisees getting more involved in their communities through this as well? It's got to be helping. I know that is not the point, but it's got to be helping with marketing and those relationships and some as well.
Yeah, that's sort of the legs of it, right? It's gotten multiple dimensions to the point where it can run on autopilot if a particular franchisee's got too much going on and can't get involved in it, or it's got, the complete breadth of every first responder agency within the community that the foundation will help us connect with. Primarily, they're finding the need because they have these relationships with the agencies in the markets, and they'll bring us in when there's something within one of our markets. But the other thing about Heroes First, it's a big social media play. So we spend a lot of time liking, following, reposting first responder content within the markets where we're at, because that attaches us to their voice. It aligns our brand with them, but even more importantly, it helps us find opportunity like that. So just, another example, just by doing that in one of our markets last year, we found a fundraising project that another firefighter was conducting for a captain in his department who was undergoing chemotherapy for rare form of cancer, had to travel all the way from Virginia down to Texas. So they were conducting a fundraising campaign, gave us opportunities to support there was a raffle that he was holding, support the raffle, engage, clean the homes of the firefighter and his wife before they returned from Houston. So all those kinds of things, it's all about life, right? Yeah. What are the life circumstances that are going on with first responders? How can we engage what we do or what our resources are to make their lives better, to try and help support them in whatever way we can?
So how far does your cleaning go? I'm thinking of like on the restoration side of things, there might be more forensic cleaning and stuff like that happening. What is the scope of work that your company is able to do, or your teams?
Yeah, well, first I'll say, if you're a restoration company, you're not aligned with a residential cleaning company or 2 or 3, you should be. Because that's exactly where the line stops. I mean, we don't do remediation. We don't do restoration work. We find things that are dirty and we clean them. But there's really a line that says, we can clean this. We can clean it to a certain level, but at some point it requires restoration.
Sure.
So, it may be a big job, it may be a small job, but, we don't rip caulk out of bathtubs that have mildew behind them and recaulk them. It's like, you got to get that done. Now that's a small job for most of, any restoration company, but we also will find homes we can't service.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it may be, borders, whatever it might be. So we're called into some of those where we've got to have a restoration partner that will bring in, turn the job over to. So we're maintenance cleaning is what it would look like. Initial deep cleans, get all the grime and dirt off, and then we maintain it at a clean level.
How do you choose the products that your franchise uses? There are so many options out there. It's the same in restoration with mold remediation products or disinfectants or whatever that may be. There's so many options now, especially in a post-COVID world where everything kind of went haywire. So
Yep.
how do you choose products and know that they're maybe the right ones are safe for customers?
Yeah, research and development is a big part of what and how we do as a franchisor, right? Is what we provide for our franchisees. So
Yeah.
we've got a company-owned operation here in Virginia Beach that we operate, and that is our R&D facility. We
Got it.
used it to really create the business model originally and test all the products and equipment that we use. And I can't tell you how many vacuum cleaners I've pushed, pulled, lugged up and downstairs, serviced, recleaned, figured out, what is the right one before we land on the one that we recommend and require within our operation. It's important for us to provide a green cleaning process. So we do have, a pH neutral based cleaning system that we can use with microfiber cloths and totally reusable equipment. But at the same time, in our industry, it doesn't always do the job. And although there are brands who will say we do nothing but total, eco-friendly green cleaning, we provide that. That's a staple of what we want, and a lot of customers want that, but a lot of them don't. If it doesn't smell like bleach when you leave the house, it's not clean to them. So in those cases, we let the customer provide that chemical, the one you want us to use that isn't on our vehicle, and we'll use it. We train our employees how to, properly take care of and use certain kinds of equipment and chemicals, but make sure that we can customize the clean for what the customer really wants.
Okay. That makes good sense. I agree with that. The smell does count for something.
Not like nothing, lemon, bleach, or pine. It's one of those four.
Nothing, lemon, bleach, or pine. Yeah. Yes, that's true. Okay. All right, Joe. Well, anything else that you want to add? Anything that we haven't talked about? Any wisdom you think that you can impart on restorers as they kind of go about their way here?
No, I said what I said before. I think we have a very cooperative type of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We can work with particular customers and different lines of business. So, again, I'd encourage everybody to align with a residential cleaning company in their markets where they operate, so that they can do sort of a full service opportunity, or a full service opportunity.
Where can people find out more about Home Clean Heroes? Where's the best place to go?
homecleanheroes.com. I mean, there's you find the residential side of it, you find the franchise opportunity linked within there as well.
Perfect. Well, Joe, thank you very much, and thank you for all that you're doing with Heroes First. And I appreciate your time, and I look forward to watching what you're doing and following you on social media, and we'll see where it goes from here.
All right, great to meet you, Michelle. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Joe.
For more restoration today and the latest news, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, and find the latest episodes of the Restoration Today podcast on your favorite podcasting platform.